The fixtures are coming thick and fast, and there's another championship round in midweek. Let's focus on what happened at the weekend because I didn't get any scores correct. So we're going to look at West Brom beating Preston 4-0. No sides now are undefeated in the league because Preston lost. Also, Middlesbrough and Swansea both picked up their second wins of the season, and they both did it back to back. So they are starting to pick up form. Are they going to carry on climbing the table? Leicester won again, sending them top. Ipswich held to a point against Huddersfield. Good start for Darren Moore with 2 draws in a row in his opening fixtures for them. Can he continue to stay undefeated? Well, I hope not, because Blues have got them in this midweek, and Blues are a side that could do with a win after losing out to Norwich last time. Let's get into my predictions, but before that, make sure to like and subscribe. And our opening fixture, Blues against Huddersfield. I'm a bit worried for Blues as we haven't won now in 5. Really struggling. Plenty of losses. We lost to Norwich 2-0 last time out. We did get a draw against QPR before that, but again, if we've got high aspirations, that's a game we should be winning, as QPR are struggling this season. But after such a good start, it all seems to be slowly slipping back to those old ways of just never looking like we can kill a game off. And if we ever do go 1-0 down, we're guaranteed to have lost the game. And these are the things we need to stamp out. And they would be stamped out if we had a clinical striker, which we've got. Jay Stansfield has been brilliant, our best attacking player this season. Easily our best striker. Yet Eustace keeps playing Scott Hogan, who, honestly, he just cannot, he can't do anything. He's completely useless. His time in the Championship is up, and I just don't understand why Eustace keeps picking him when he's so out of form. It's ridiculous. It feels like we're playing with 10 men half the time, and no wonder we can't score because our striker doesn't do anything. Enough of the ranting about Scott Hogan and our poor striking options though. Huddersfield, under Darren Moore, have got off to a decent start. 2 draws in a row. Drawing last time out against high-flying Ipswich, so very good result there. And they are unbeaten in 5, as Warnock was unbeaten in 3 before he left. So this is going to be tough. Looking at it on paper, it's a game I feel we should win, but with our form at the moment, Huddersfield hard to beat. I wouldn't be surprised if we lost it, and I think it's an important week for Eustace, as to be honest, if he doesn't win both games, I do have a feeling that he will be out. We've got West Brom on Friday, Huddersfield Tuesday. Unless we get 2 wins or maybe a win and a draw, I think the management will get a bit fed up of him, as they will have their own vision for the club. And you can't really sack a manager as soon as you come in. It is unfair. They've given him a chance. And although I think he's a good manager, I just think he is struggling at the moment. And I don't think we are going to get out of this form with him at the helm. So it's difficult because as much as I'd love to keep him, and I think if you keep him for long enough, we will come good, I just think the football is getting worse and worse every week. And his substitutions don't really make sense. So I am worried. Huddersfield, though, I am worried we'll lose it, but I am going to be optimistic and go for a 1-1 draw. 2 sides that are very hard to beat. Ipswich against Hull. Ipswich flying under Kieran McKenna, second in the league, and I've got no doubt that they will be up in the playoffs by the end of this season. At least they will be top 6 because they are a brilliant side. Unless Kieran McKenna gets poached at some point through this season, I think they'll be up there. They have won 7, drew 1, lost 1 of their league games so far. The draw was their most recent, with a 1-1 against Huddersfield at the weekend. But again, I think they're so hard to beat, and they are a very good side, very fun to watch. Hull lost on the opening day, but since then unbeaten in 8, 4 wins, 4 draws. Drew with Plymouth at the weekend. And they're, again, very hard to beat, which is why for this one, I maybe fancy Ipswich a little bit, but both in form, so I am going to go for an exciting 2-2 draw. Middlesbrough take on Cardiff next. And Middlesbrough didn't win in their first 7, but have since won 2 in a row against Southampton and Watford. I wonder if they're turning a corner like they did when Carrick took over at the start of last season. Who knows, only time will tell. Cardiff, much better than they were at the start of the season. 4 wins in a row now, looking to make it 5 here. They also progressed in the Carabao Cup against Blues before getting knocked out by Blackburn last week. For this one, it's a tight game again. I think Middlesbrough are coming into a bit of form, so I am going to go down the middle, 1-1. Plymouth take on Millwall next. Now Plymouth, brilliant home form. Won 3 of their 4, losing the other to Southampton. But out of those 3 games, they have scored 12 goals, and it includes that brilliant 6-2 win over Norwich the other week. So Plymouth in very good form at home, and they're taking on a Millwall side that are very inconsistent. In fact, their last 6 results read win, draw, loss, win, draw, loss. They don't really seem to be better at home or away. They're hard to get a read of, so I'm going to back the home side to win it 2-1. Stoke take on Southampton next. And Stoke were a bit of a tricky patch, as they had not won in 5 games. However, they beat Bristol City 3-2 away after Bristol City were 2-0 up in 15 minutes. So a very good turnaround from Stoke, one that you wouldn't really expect after the poor start to the game they made, and they'll be hoping they can get into some form now. Southampton, quite similar. Lost 4 in a row before a very strange result, beating Leeds at the weekend, which I didn't expect because Leeds are in good form and had kept 4 clean sheets in a row. So that was out of the ordinary, but we do know Southampton have some brilliant players. They just weren't really playing together. That result may change things and see them have a good October and start bouncing back up the table. Who knows? This one, I think I have got to back the away side. I seem to back Southampton a lot, but it is because they have a very good team. They just weren't playing great. So I'm going to go for the Saints to win it 1-0. West Brom take on Sheffield Wednesday next. And West Brom, brilliant form. In their last 8, they've only lost 1, drawing 4 and winning 3. So too many draws in there, but they are hard to beat. And they managed to be the first side this season to beat Preston. And it wasn't just beating them, they demolished Preston 4-0. I think the Preston that played Blues showed up. However, Blues weren't clinical and West Brom took their chances very well. Brilliant play from West Brom. Didn't expect the result or the scoreline, but they are having a great start to the season. They're up into 8th now. Wasn't expecting it. I thought they'd have a very tough season with obviously poor ownership and not much money to spend, but it's going well. So West Brom, maybe they'll continue it and get into the playoffs at some point. Who knows? They've got a good chance here of getting into that top 6 though, because they're playing a Sheffield Wednesday side that are yet to win, the only side with no wins. They've drawn 2, they've lost 2 in a row, both 3-0 scorelines against Swansea and Sunderland. So Sheffield Wednesday are looking poor. They're already 6 points off safety. I'm not sure that Sheffield Wednesday are going to survive this season. They've got a lot of problems going on anyway. And I think West Brom will win comfortably 2-0. Coventry against Blackburn. Now Coventry have only lost 1 of their last 8, but they've drawn 5. So loads of draws for Coventry. They were brilliant last season, but they are struggling at the moment to find those decisive goals. They did beat QPR in their last one, 3-1 however, so they will be hoping that they can get more winning goals very soon. Blackburn, they are really struggling. Lost 3 in a row, lost 4-1 to Leicester last time out, conceding a lot of goals as there was a 4-3 against Ipswich as well, so I've got a feeling Coventry will win this one 2-1. Leeds against QPR. Now Leeds were 6 unbeaten with 4 clean sheets in a row. However, they did lose 3-1 to Southampton at the weekend. QPR haven't won in their last 4 with 2 losses and 2 draws. I've got a feeling Leeds will get all 3 points because their attack is ridiculous and I don't think QPR defensively will be able to cope. So Leeds to win 2-0. Leicester against Preston. Interesting one. Preston are only 4 points off Leicester, who are top of the league. But Leicester, out of their 9 games, won 8, lost 1. They've won 4 in a row. They are flying. Beat Blackburn 4-1 at the weekend. Plenty of goals in this side. Getting better defensively as well. So I think Leicester will win the league quite comfortably. They are the best side on paper. And I just don't really see them losing many games. They did lose the one to Hull, but I think they're probably going to lose 3 games this season. Just as a rough guess. I can't see much more than that. So that will be enough to win them the title quite comfortably. Preston had won 6 in a row, were unbeaten. Very, very big surprise. They were the surprise of the season, really. Then they drew with Rotherham, but then they lost 4-0 to West Brom at the weekend. And I did say, when Preston beat Blues, they didn't play well at all. They had one chance and won it 2-1. They weren't creative. It really looked like you could get at them if you had, a good striker, which Blues don't have, which is our problem. And we're not clinical. But I did kind of say, once Preston lose their first game, maybe the wheels will fall off. Now, this isn't the sort of game that Preston will want after their first loss, as it's going to be difficult to get anything against Leicester anyway. They'd want someone favourable to get back into good form against. But I've got a feeling it might be 2 losses in a row. I'm going to go Leicester to win convincingly 3-1. Sunderland up against Watford. This is a tough one to call, as Sunderland, they are doing very, very well at the moment. In their last 7 games, they've won 5, drew 1, lost 1. So, good going from Sunderland. Watford, pretty poor. They're very hard to get a read of as well. They were 3 undefeated, but they've now lost 2 in a row against Southampton and against Middlesbrough. I am going to back the home side because Jack Clarke is in great form and Sunderland are playing some good football. So I'll go for Sunderland to win 2-1. Swansea against Norwich. I'm not sure how this is going to go, as Swansea were looking for their first win, but 3 undefeated now, draw in the first and back-to-back wins, both by a 3-0 margin. Very good from Swansea, and I'm wondering if they're going to start climbing up the table now and getting some good results. Norwich had a poor September in the league with 3 losses out of 4, but they did end it on a high, beating Blues 2-0. Blues who are struggling at the moment to do much, unfortunately. But Norwich were decent in the game. They weren't amazing, but they didn't have to be. And I think if Blues had put up a fight, Norwich could have stepped it up another gear because they have got some very good players. Norwich got the win. I think this is tight, so I'm going to sit on the fence and go 1-1. And finally, Rotherham against Bristol City. Rotherham, 23rd in the league, only 1 win. They are struggling quite a bit, and it's not really a surprise. They don't spend much money. They do run their club pretty well by, just kind of bouncing up and down between League One and the Championship. However, they did survive last season, keeping them here for a second season. I am a little bit worried that the Championship is a bit too strong this year. The sides that came up in Plymouth and Ipswich look like they're going to be okay. Sheffield Wednesday probably go down too, but I think Rotherham may be going back down this year because they just don't look like they're going to win many games at all. Bristol City were in a decent run of form, 4 unbeaten, but they've lost 2 in a row now, coming against Leicester and against Stoke, who hadn't won many games at all. So Bristol City, a bit hit and miss. I think this one could be tight, but I am going to go Bristol City to nick it 2-1. So, those are my predictions for these Championship midweek fixtures. Let me know your predictions down in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe, and up the Blues.